This tutorial is going to try to quickly show you how to get started with a polygon portrait. So for this project, which we've already started in class, we will be doing this sort of effect. I have a lot of half-finished examples in here, but where we take a portrait and we create these series of polygons over the portrait, kind of paying attention to the planes, the colors, the direction, and the movement of the face. Here's a few more partially finished examples. And yeah, I'm going to show you the basic steps for it. So the first thing that we need to do is open a photo in Photoshop. The way that I like to do that is to right click on that photo or control click and say open with Adobe Photoshop. I have already opened mine here, so just go ahead and choose a portrait that you've taken. And then we would want to save this project as. So you'd go up to File, Save As, and make sure that you save it as a Photoshop file in the correct folder. So go ahead and pause this, save your photo now. We are going to find the Polygon Lasso tool, which is over in the left-hand sidebar. It should be the third one down, but if you're seeing a regular lasso tool, click and hold on it. So if you click and hold, you can see that there's three options here: lasso, polygon, and magnetic. We want the polygon one, so that will help keep our shapes a little bit straighter. Then you're going to zoom in by pressing Command plus. You can scroll around with your mouse, and you are going to go through and outline your subject. We're going to cut it out from the background. As I get to pieces of hair that are a little bit like wispy or kind of see-through to the background color, I'm just going to ignore those. I don't really need to keep every single detail of the edge in the photo. And then as I come up to the sunglasses, I'll kind of go around those. If you make a mistake, you can press delete on your keyboard and it will undo the most recent thing or point that you did. And then when you're not using this tool, if you need to undo anything, it's just Command Z. But in the lasso tool, you would just press delete. I'm also cutting out some of the pieces of hair that they don't need to be sticking out as far as they do. Go around the shape of her face. And the reason that I'm using this tool rather than just select subject is because I want to have a little bit of a straighter edge when I'm making my polygons, so I prefer to do it this way so that it's not totally perfect. Okay, when I get to the edge here, this way, when I get to the edge of the picture, wherever that ends up being, at the bottom or at the side, this one's at the side, I am going to click outside of the photo just to make sure that everything's included, and then I need to meet back up with my original point. You can see that when I find the original point, it kind of turns, you can see a circle there. And then when I click on that, it now has my entire subject outlined in these marching ants, or the dotted line. I'm going to press Command C to copy. So I'm copying the selection, Command C, and then Command V to paste. You can see over here that that added another layer. If I hide the background, I can see that it's cut out. So I have a new layer now. In addition to my background, I will keep this one just in case I need to use it, and got my new layer. Next thing I'm going to do is add a false background. I don't want to have to worry about detail in the background, so we're just going to do a solid color. So go ahead, click on the bottom layer, whatever your lowest layer is, and then at the bottom of the layers panel, I want you to click on this circle that's cut in half. This will allow you to create a new layer. And we just want to do a solid color one, so we're going to click solid color. It automatically fills in with black, but you can use this eyedropper tool to choose a color from the photo. So I could pick up a little bit of the original background color, could pick up earring color, clothing, hair, skin tone, any of these, whatever color I like best. You can even drag around until you find the best one. So choose something that you like. I kind of like the original background color. And then you'll click OK. It's best to pull a color from the photo because then it feels related rather than just choosing a random one. So now we've got our background color. Now we need to start making some polygons. So on the larger, more open areas of the face, we're going to do larger polygons like the cheeks, the forehead, everything. When you get closer to the eyes or hands or details, then you want to do small polygons, but we'll start kind of large. So go ahead and zoom in a bit on the photo and click a couple of times to make your first polygon. And don't make it too perfect. Try to do like a triangular shape or something kind of more similar to a triangle. You don't want it to be like square or rectangle. And try your best to follow the form of the face. Okay, so not too perfect, not too boxy. With that selection there, we're going to go through the whole process the long way and then we'll do a shortcut. Now actually I forgot a step. Backtrack. So I hit deselect to get rid of that. Command D will also work. I forgot, we need to duplicate this layer first. So duplicate your subject layer. Now make your first polygon. And then go up to Filter, Blur, Average. Okay, so find Filter at the top, Blur, Average. And what that does, it takes all the colors that are in this space, it averages them, and it makes a solid color. And then we can deselect, and you can see we have the first polygon there. It is kind of hard to get them to match up, so just make sure that you zoom in so you can see the edges as you're working. All right, now we're going to do this we're going to set up the faster way. So I want you to go up to Window, Actions. So find Window, Actions. That will open the Actions bar. And I have already created an action for this, but I'll go ahead and delete it so I can show you how to make a new one. You will need to click the plus to make a new action. Call it Create Polygon. And go ahead and set the function key to F5 or whatever you think the best key would be. It'll just be one of the keys on your keyboard. And then record. Now, anything that we do while this is recording, it will save the action. So we want to start by duplicating the current layer. I'm going to drag this to the plus to duplicate it. So it says duplicate current layer is the first step. Now I'm going to pause this because I don't want it to record the next step. So click the stop button, the little square, to pause. I'm going to zoom in and draw my next polygon. You don't want this part recorded because you want a different polygon every time. Okay. Now I'm going to keep recording by hitting the circle button. So now I'm recording again. And I'm going to go up to Filter, and it actually remembers my most recent choice right here. So Filter, Average. Now that's recorded. And the last step is to deselect. You can either click on this button here or you can press Command D. So that will deselect. Now I'm going to stop that so that it is done recording. And when I go to make my next polygon, you really want to get these close together. Don't let them have a gap in between. When I go to make my next polygon, I can press Fn, which is in the bottom corner of the keyboard, and then F5 is the key that I set it to. It creates the polygon, deselects, made a whole new layer, all that good stuff. So you're going to do that over and over again, but then you'll start to notice that you have a ton of layers here, and it will make your Photoshop file very slow to load. It could crash Photoshop. So once you get a number of layers here, I want you to click on the top layer. Let's say we had like 30 or 40 layers. Click on the top layer, hold Shift, scroll down, and click on the bottom layer. Pretend this is a lot more than 3. And then you are going to right click and say Merge Layers. So now each of those polygons that had their own layer they are now merged as one. I'm also going to lock this layer 1 because I really don't want anything to happen to that because that's kind of our base reference layer. We do have this one for backup, but yeah, so you're basically going to repeat that over and over. Pay attention to the direction, the movement, where things change colors, like this is darker, this is lighter. When you get to the details, you're going to do smaller rectangles, but don't waste your time doing really small rectangles in these big open spaces. You could even do larger ones than what I did here. Give that a shot, save as you go, and then make sure that you are regularly merging your layers so that the file doesn't get too large and crash. Let me know if you have any questions as you're working.